We are coming up on 3 weeks since the last time I got my Danios, and I've now added another 12 that I'm getting accumulated into the tank. And the chemistry looks good. Everything I read on the chemistry is looking like there's no problems. Even the higher pH isn't a great concern, but it is, you know, a concern. I wish it was lower. However, I need to push forth and just see what happens when I add more fish, because I want to increase my my ammonia / the whole nitrogen process cycle, so I can start to add more plants upstairs. So upstairs, as you can see here, we got plants growing left, right, and center. Well, not really. We got the sage plant. It's spiding around all over the place. I think that's pretty cool. I think one problem that I am having is there might be some competition with the roots with these two systems. Going back to this concern here about, I don't know if you can see that very well. Alright, so going back to the problems, like this is like an old leaf, and I've always seen this, even from new leaves it starts. The older the leaf gets, the more it looks like this. I don't see any pests or anything that would cause any concern with exterior. I think this is more of a nutrient deficiency. I don't see it on any of the other plants like the sage. I mean, the sage looks pretty decent, although the sage does have purpling leaves, and I do believe, I don't really see it too well here, I do believe that may be part of the nature of this breed of sage. I think one of the keys that I got to do is manage the clipping and cutting and making sure it's all good. So I mean, I may have some problems here, but I think I just got to make sure, things that are little problems, like the trimming and stuff, to get rid of them, because that's like a waste. Like if I were to look here, I don't know, you don't really see it, the tips are kind of browning, and I'll have to reinvestigate that. I know that's another issue to do with nutrient deficiencies. So again, I mean, this is definitely a balancing act that I'm trying to do with, between the up and the down. Alright, there she is. There's probably about 24 or so Danios in the tank. And obviously they're, well, they're going to spend the next day or two getting used to their new home. One of the problems with having this many fish too is, and the reason why I went and did that is because there's no way I can count the fish and go, oh, we're missing one, and then, you know what I mean? So I got to get, if the fish makes its way into the sump tank, it's just gonna die. Alright, this is the second time I've seen this guy do this. This seems like abnormal behavior to me. However, any other time other than it looks healthy and normal and vibrant. The only thing I can sort of think about is the water temperatures might be a little too warm. But I mean, I don't know. Just gonna try to go up around the backside. Oh, there he goes. I mean, he does have some missing scales. I know his fin's looking a little messed up there. No, the other guy doesn't look too bad. I mean, there's still some odd missing scales. But you definitely look healthier. But it's always been like that. When I got them, they were both in pretty good condition, I would say. But the white one is more skittish. It's more active. It's always running around doing things. This one here will just like, I'll chill. So the thing I can think of is the temperatures. I don't know if you can see that too well, but saying like 23.1. And I want to say like it can handle it. We're at it preferred to be cooler. Oh, well, I'm on the subject of it too, and I don't see any evidence of it, but last night, I found a dead fish kind of pucking around, and the two goldies were kind of nibbling on it, and I figured, well, what's done is done. Might as well let them finish eating it. I don't know what caused it, if it died. Like, I have no idea what caused the death. Maybe the goldies did it, maybe not. So anyway, an interesting observation, because I can't count these fish anymore. It's really hard to keep track of how many I have, so I just kind of let it do its own thing. But is there a plausibility that their numbers will dwindle? Or is it a plausibility there's still an issue with my tanks, and even though they look fine when they're fine, The only one they don't look fine is their, I don't know. So I am seeing a lot of like these fish. They're not really as active as maybe they used to be. I mean, some of them are, some of them aren't. It's not black and white, it's more gray. But the old fish that I have back here, he's part of the original group. He's always been kind of, well, he's been slow for a while. You know, this one here is showing some signs of some ick, or not ick. Ick is a spot. This is more probably bacterial. It's more probably because their immune system's been compromised in some form way, and they're weak. Anyway, so I went to the fish store because I'm thinking I wanted to test my oxygen levels in the tank, but they had no test for that. I know it exists, but they just didn't have it. And my theory is I shouldn't have an oxygen problem, but it's not black and white. You know, it could be a gray thing. So maybe you know, let's say if it's in the middle. You know, I got half a problem, so it's causing stress, but it's not enough to outright kill them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this basically into the sump tank, but I also want to do a test. So I'm thinking actually of putting it into putting it into here somewhere and just see how the fish react to it. If I see that they're drawn to the water and I see, obviously this isn't something I can record, but if I see some improvements or some difference, favorability of it, it will tell me that my oxygen levels are low. However, with that said, I'm not really expecting to see a black and white difference. Alright, just basically fired it in. I'm just doing a makeshift, this will do sort of. Basically the idea is we'll see what that does in terms of you know, how the fish behave and act over the next day or so. I have water ready to do the cleaning later, but I think I'm going to wait. Well, I got some stuff to do in the next couple of days, so it won't be recently, but anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. And if this works out really well, I will eventually just stick it in the sump tank.